This is one of over 500 assisted PNF stretching demonstrations that can be found as part of my 80 Days to Your Dream Body course, which is available to my channel members. If you'd like to see all of them, then consider becoming a member. But for right now, let's get our stretch on. First thing that we want to do when we're working on the hip extensors, we want to take the knee and we want to take the popliteal portion of the knee, place it right up onto our shoulders. That way we have a nice leverage point. From this point over here, if we just want to do your basic PNF, what we would do, first we're going to start and go 0 degrees of flexion. So we're just going to go straight. We want to bring the knee toward the same side shoulder. We're going to go ahead. We're going to lift up to traction at the hip, and then we're going to lean forward. Once we get a nice stretch, we're going to instruct the patient to inhale and press into my shoulder, and they're going to inhale, contract. And then on the exhale, they're going to relax. We're going to lift and lean to traction and take them deeper into the stretch. Whenever I'm performing a treatment, one of the things that I like to do is 1 tap means inhale, push. 2 taps means exhale and relax. So that's just the cue that I'll give my patients to make it a little bit easier. Let's say that they have a little bit of restriction at the joint capsule. Instead of just doing your basic PNF, we could also incorporate a little bit of traction and gliding. So if there's some restriction at the joint capsule, what we could do is get the hands at the proximal surface of the femur, and then we would want to perform an inferior traction by going longitudinally along the axis of the spine. Then we're going to do an anterior glide by lifting up and then take them into the stretch. And same thing, we're going to instruct the patient to inhale, push. They're going to inhale, contract. And then on the exhale, they're going to relax. And then we're going to traction, glide, and stretch. At 0 degrees, we're primarily focusing on the central fibers of the hip extensors. So right now, we're getting the middle fibers of the glute max. With regard to the hamstrings, we're going to be getting the proximal attachment of the semitendinosus in this position at 0 degrees. That's what we're going to be emphasizing. We're still getting all of the hip extensors, but the main emphasis is going to be on those central fibers of the gluteus maximus muscle and on the proximal attachment of the semitendinosus. Once we've done a few passes at 0 degrees, so again, we're just going to go ahead. They're going to inhale and push. And then they're going to exhale and relax. We're going to lift and lean to traction, create space. Then we're going to come out a little bit. So now we're going to bring that leg into a little bit of horizontal abduction. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lift and lean, take them into the stretch. Inhale, push. And then they're going to exhale. And we're going to lift in traction and take them deeper into the stretch. Now that we're in a little bit of horizontal abduction, what's going to happen is we're going to start to shift the emphasis a little bit. So now, with regard to the hip extensors for the glute max, we're starting to get a little bit more into the lateral medial fibers, so the fibers that are a little bit closer to the midline. And we're also at the hamstring starting to shift the emphasis towards the semimembranosus. Still getting a decent amount of the semitendinosus, but a little bit more of the semimembranosus. Then we're going to come out a little bit more into abduction. So we're going to go ahead, lift. So we're going to traction, take them deeper into the stretch. Inhale, push. They're going to inhale, contract. And then exhale, we're going to lift and lean, take them deeper into the stretch. And again, if they have some capsular restrictions, we can incorporate a little bit more traction and gliding to get deeper into the joint capsule. Now that we're even more into abduction, we're starting to get a lot more into the medial fibers, so the fibers of the glute max that are closest to the midline, as well as we're getting a lot more now into the semimembranosus. From this position, now we can start getting into the adductors. That was just a tiny taste of what can be found in my members only section. If you enjoyed it, become a member for only $5 a month to get access to hundreds of member only videos.